Hey guys, it's me, the little bug under your shoe, the feral possum trapped under your porch, your butterfly sky dancer lodged in a tree. And then I think it's been a couple weeks actually since my last check-in. We were traveling for Thanksgiving, did a good old road trip around the southern US. I didn't film any of that, we were just hanging out with family. But now we're back and stuff is happening. We finally got an update on our visa status. I think I mentioned before that Patrick's job has like a third-party company that they've contracted to help with international moves. That company is helping us with our visa application and relocation process. They haven't been the most helpful. They're not really responsive. They haven't provided an update, like unless we pester them for it. And some of the information we've gotten doesn't quite line up with like the instructions on the website, like the government website for the UK visas. So are they really helping? I'm not sure yet. We were told back in October when this started that it was going to take 8 to 10 weeks to get our visas. And we're currently on week 10 and we don't have them yet. We only have a few weeks left of December before Patrick has to report for work over there. So the nerves are definitely creeping in a little bit. The latest update that we got last week was that the applications have been submitted. All of our paperwork has been submitted. We had to provide a lot of stuff, a lot of documents proving our existence, our relationship, the sponsorship information. And now the ball is in our court to complete what they call biometric screening. And that's where you have to actually report in person to an embassy or like immigration office where they will look over your documents, take your photo, take your fingerprints, and essentially like sign off on you. Then we take our application and all of our documents plus our like bio screening confirmation. We wrap that up into a nice little package and then that gets mailed to the embassy in New York City. And then they're the ones who will give us like the ultimate decision or the final sign off. We had to print out every single document, all of our personal stuff, the whole application. It's kind of odd to me that they still need paper copies of everything. Like I figured they would just be able to look at it online, but that is not the case. So we're paying to overnight it to New York, and then we're also paying for priority processing at this point. So theoretically, once they receive the package, we should have an answer within 5 days. But also, who knows? Bureaucracy is a rowboat and not a speedboat, and we've got a big ocean to cross. Patrick already did his screening appointment on Friday. Today is Monday, and I'm getting ready to go in to do mine right now. It is a government building, like it is a US immigration office, so I won't be filming anything in there, but I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, that was different than what I was expecting, but also I don't know what I was expecting. It was really busy. There was a lot of people in there, so I see now why you need an appointment. I thought they would look through more of my documents, ask me questions, something, but they didn't do any of that. They looked at my passport, we did the fingerprints, we did the photo, and that was it. I think the photo that we took will end up going on our residency permit cards. We won't get those until we're in the UK and we go to like their immigration office and pick those up, but the photos should be interesting. I think Patrick said his photo looked like he had seen a ghost, and my photo looked like I was the ghost. But now that that's finished, I have the noble, important quest of mailing all of this stuff to New York today. So I have all of our documents printed out here nicely. I also have to include our passports in this package. So I'm going to UPS right now to send them off, and then we wait.
Later.
I did something so stupid that it pains me to say it out loud. It pains me to retell this story, even though I've already replayed it 1,000 times over in my head. And my brain will probably continue to remind me about it every other day for the next 10 years. That's just how my brain works. I don't make the rules, except that I do. I walked myself into my first Facebook Marketplace scam encounter. You know when you interact with somebody who is just so foul that it kind of takes you aback? It gives you pause to think people like that just merrily exist in society. Okay. As you may know, I've been trying to sell some of our furniture before we move. I had my dresser posted for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I had it listed for $500, which I thought was very reasonable considering the price that I paid for it. It's maybe like a third of what it would cost brand new if you bought it from the website, which you can still do now. They still sell it. It's a nice dresser. It had a couple little like dings on it and scratches just from normal wear, and we had moved it before. All of that was included in the listing with photos of it, but it was minor stuff. Like you wouldn't notice it unless you were really trying to look for it. I had it for sale on there. A guy reached out to me wanting to kind of haggle the price down. He wanted it for $400. I was like, no, sorry. Like it's $500. Like it's a nice piece of furniture. And he was still like, okay, I'll still take it. I'll come get it on this day. The dresser was it was tall and kind of skinny, which made it very awkward to carry. And since the drawers didn't remove, it made it very heavy. It's not something that I can move. It's not something that Patrick and I can move. Just the two of us. Like you really needed to have a dolly or I guess somebody very strong to help you, which I did let him know, just saying, hey, like it's heavy, it's awkward to carry. Like you'll either need a dolly or somebody to help you move it. Just trying to be nice. He eventually comes to pick it up and immediately he was just kind of odd and off-putting, but I was trying to move it along as quickly as possible because this was the first time out of all of the furniture that we've already sold where somebody was coming to our actual home to pick up the item. Everything else we had either brought out to the street ourselves or met them at a different location, right? So this was the only person who was coming to our home. And so I wanted to move things along. Patrick and I managed to like scoot the dresser out into like the very front door so it was ready to go. And he's looking at it, kind of like hemming and hawing to himself, trying to call his wife, but she's not answering. I'm kind of like, okay, here it is. I have like padding and that furniture saran wrap to wrap it up to protect it while we moved it. I'm like trying to offer to put this on and he's like, no, I don't want that. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, here's how we can move it. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want this padding and protection to keep it from scratching? He's like, no, absolutely not. Like, I don't want any of that. And I was kind of like, okay. And he proceeds to start loading the dresser onto this dolly that he brought. And in that moment, I know I should have asked for payment, like right then and there before he took it out of the apartment. I know that, but for whatever reason, those words did not leave my mouth. I was like more focused on trying to be helpful and like get it wrapped up and hold the door and scoot the blankets out of the way and just like try to make this a quick and pleasant experience for all. Now I know that was my bad. We get the thing out to his car. He parks the dolly directly behind his flatbed truck that he had. And I'm kind of like, okay, thanks for coming. Like, here's my Venmo information. And that's when it all begins. He lets me know he will not be paying $500. He doesn't think the piece of furniture is genuine, doesn't think that I bought it from the place that I said that I bought it from, even though the sticker for that company and the item number and everything is on the back of the dresser. He doesn't think that it's real wood. He thinks that it's veneer. It's not. It's got dings on it, all of which I had disclosed and he had seen before leaving the apartment. So I'm still like kind of trying to be nice at this point, like reassuring him that it is real. He says, I'll give you $300 for it. And I was like, well, like, no, I have other people interested in this dresser. I've been holding on to this like for you to come pick it up. So like, no. Then he goes into this spiel how he has a furniture flipping business and he's never gonna be able to make his money back on this item because it's not gonna sell for that much because it's not genuine. And now suddenly he's got his wife, or I don't know who this was, on the phone. They're looking at the dresser on FaceTime being like, oh yeah, see this isn't genuine. This isn't how they build these things now. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, you didn't disclose this business or that you were flipping this piece of furniture beforehand, but also if you did, like, that's not really my business what you do with it afterwards. Like, I said the price, you agreed on the price. I didn't come seeking out your services, right? So he says again, I'm not paying more than $300 for this. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, well, bye then. Can we wheel the dresser back onto my door? He pulls the dolly out from under the dresser. So now the bare top of the dresser is face down in the parking lot, actively getting scratched because, you know, he wouldn't let me protect it. He's like, no, I'm not moving it back. I'm like, okay, can I at least use the dolly to move it back myself? For $100 you can. And at that point I'm like, okay, like, we're done here. Then he decides, well, I'm just gonna back out, gets into his car, turns it on, is actively trying to back out of the parking space. Mind you, the dresser and myself are directly behind his car. Patrick and I are looking at each other like, is this guy serious? He's actually going to back out and hit the dresser with his car? We're kind of like quickly contemplating to each other how we're going to scooch this thing out of the road. Somebody's gonna have to stand with it while the other one goes to U-Haul to rent a dolly or something to try to figure out how the two of us can lift this thing and get it back to our apartment. Now knowing that it's getting scratched and I'm not gonna be able to resell it now in the same condition that I listed it in. Meanwhile, the dude's still trying to argue with me about the authenticity of this dresser. Patrick's kind of like, is this what you do, man? You just show up and try to threaten and scam people? And the guy's just insistent, like, it's not my problem, it's not my problem. Then the guy kind of leans out of his car and is like, final offer, I'll take it for $400. And in that moment, I had the inner monologue of what I think a lot of women can probably relate to when faced with a persistent or hostile man, whether it's the creepy dude who won't stop talking to you on the airplane, the guy who sits directly next to you on the park bench, even though there's a dozen empty benches in eyesight, where half of your brain is like, oh my God, what an asshole. I'm gonna tell him he can right off. And the other half of your brain is like, that would be cool, but, and hear me out, did you ever think about this? What if he wants to hurt you? And the other half of your brain is like, damn, that is kind of true. We better not piss him off. So I just took the money and walked away. And when I tell you, I was so mad at myself. I called my best friend afterwards, sobbing on the phone to her, like, why am I so stupid? Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I do that? And she's like, oh, but like, what if he wanted to hurt you? And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. And then there was this element of, oh my God, out of all the people that we've sold stuff to over this past month, this is the guy, the one guy who knows exactly where we live. And just what a gross, uneasy, ick feeling that I had in my stomach about that. So then I didn't want to leave for the day to do our errands because I didn't want to leave Odie by himself because in my mind, this is a bad person. He's coming back to finish the job, fully rob us, kidnap our dog, and sell him on the puppy black market. Is that an overreaction? Possibly, but I've listened to way too much true crime podcasting to know the difference. So we brought Odie with us for the day, and Patrick went inside and did all the grocery shopping while I sat in the car and held onto my dog as if somebody was actively trying to tear him from my arms. And then we went home and watched what was either the best or worst possible movie that I could have watched for the first time. The Barbie movie? Are you kidding me? I'm crying in the first 5 minutes. Girls are important and strong and can be anything they want to be. It is over for me. There's this scene where America Ferrera's character is explaining or describing why it's so exhausting to be a woman. You have to be this, but not that, but not this. Sobbing, crying, ring of tears accumulating on the collar of my t-shirt, sitting there so mad at myself, so mad at Dresser Dude. Like, no, he did not make me feel so stupid and so small, not in the year of our Barbie movie. And then suddenly the films got me thinking about all the times that I felt like that. The bosses that I've had that made me feel so incompetent and so naive when I was genuinely so good at my job. Oh, the boy that I loved at one point in life who I would have laid my body across the train tracks to make happy, except he didn't actually care if I lived or died. The relative who lets 13-year-old you know, unprovoked, that you look fat in that outfit, and so you lock yourself in your room and you don't eat for 2 days. The movie ends, and now I'm crying in the shower listening to Billie Eilish. It doesn't matter if you're 13 or 31. That feeling when a man makes you feel small, God, it sucks. I'm so grateful to have Patrick in my life who is pouring me wine and rubbing my back as I cry to the Barbie movie. But today is a new day. We're gonna try to focus on literally anything else, such as it's over. It's one less thing gone from our apartment. I'm fine. Patrick's fine. Odie's fine. In the grand scheme of what we're trying to do here, it's all fine. In the grand scheme of what's going on around the world right now, oh my God, are we so fine and so lucky and so privileged? In fact, I feel guilty about complaining about anything at all. Do you ever spiral into that train of thought. Like so many other people have way, way, way bigger things to be sad about. And now I feel guilty for being sad about my insignificant problems by comparison. Like, I don't deserve to feel sad. In fact, I should be punished for even thinking about being sad. And the punishment for that is more sadness. You know, when I say my inner thoughts like this out loud to a camera, it really sounds like somebody who needs a therapist and is too scared to get one. Well, as I was finishing that thought, Odie randomly got sick and had explosive diarrhea underneath the bed, which he's never done before. In the last 3 weeks, bud, the last 3 weeks that we live here, you have to diarrhea on the carpet? Hello? I don't exactly remember what I was talking about before. Y'all ever do this? Buy a bag of these break and bake cookie dough pieces, bake none of them. Just do this about 2 to 3 times a day until the bag is gone. Hello, good morning. I don't remember exactly when I last filmed, but I think it's been a couple days. Updates. I got this new little light for my camera. This is what the light looks like when I'm facing the window. I feel like it looks okay. When I'm not facing the window, it's very dark and it looks terrible. So I bought this little guy. This is what it looks like when it's not on. And when it's on, ooh, see, I feel like that looks a lot better. We're raising the quality a little bit at a time. Today is Thursday. I think I mailed our visa stuff on Monday, and we got an email from the visa office this morning saying that a decision had been made on our visas, but the email didn't say what that decision was. When you go to the visa site to try to track the progress of your application, it doesn't work. It just says there's an error on the website. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to do. It's either a really good sign or a really bad sign that they've made a decision so fast. I feel like this whole video has just been me complaining the whole time, but we're gonna pivot into happy fun times because I just put a pot roast in the crock pot for a very cozy autumnal fall vibes kind of evening. And I just got my very first winter coat. Here, I'm putting you on the tripod so you can see, but I am very excited about this. I know that every one of you who lives in an actual cold winter climate is rolling your eyes into the back of your skull right now. But this is my very first time owning a winter coat. I've never lived in a place that got cold and actually stayed cold in the winter. I mean, I have some like sweaters and jackets, but I've never owned anything like this. It's long, it's cozy, it's got really big pockets. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it is like a very dark green houndstooth kind of print. Now, I don't know if houndstooth is actually British. Like many British artifacts, it's very much likely not, but it makes me feel British and it matches my little baby hound dog. So I'm just chuffed to bits over this, as the Brits say. I think I want one of those little like newsboy caps. Is that too much? Also, on the subject of winter coats, Odie's chest stands proudly at 2 inches off the ground, and he too has never felt the icy chill of the northern wind. So I've ordered him 6 different jackets to try on in hopes that we find one that will fit his abnormally long body. Commence puppy fashion show. Now, he doesn't really like wearing clothes, so I don't expect this to go as well as I'd hope. The wish list of what we're looking for in a jacket. I want it to be warm for him, preferably on his chest, so he's not rubbing against everything wet. We want it to be comfortable, we want it to fit well, and I like it to be easy to take on and off him.
And we want him to look really handsome.
Okay, jacket number 1. I picked this one because it does have chest coverage on it and it already has a built-in harness in the jacket. So I don't have to put his harness on him and a jacket on top of that.
Okay, baby boy, let's see if it fits.
Okay.
And what do you think of this one?
I think it fits okay.
Odie, let me see. Do you like it? And what do you think of this one? You hate it?
I didn't expect to find a good one right off the bat, but I mean, this one's checking a lot of boxes. Oh, he does also need to be able to pee in it. That's a big one. Okay, jacket number 2. This one is actually the same brand, same kind of style, just a little bit different.
Okay, bud, what do you think of this one?
This one actually fits pretty good too.
You're red just like a double-decker bus.
Oh, wow.
Very handsome.
I feel like this is a good one, and it might fit just a little bit better than the last one. Okay, jacket number 3. This one I think is a little bit different style. Yeah, so it's still a vest with the chest coverage, and it's just, instead of having the harness that wraps all the way around, it just has this little like D-ring clip at the top. This one fits okay too. It has a little bit more neck coverage up here.
And what do you think of this one?
I didn't expect all these to fit. Like, they're actually pretty good. The next 3 I actually picked out because they were advertised specifically to be for dachshunds. This one was supposed to be more for like wind and rain protection, but it doesn't have the chest coverage. It just has a little Velcro strap that goes around his body.
Please come here. There you go. Oh, wow, look at you.
I'd say this one provides good coverage, but it doesn't have the built-in harness. It just has a little opening here, so I'd have to put his harness on underneath this. But this one too, you can kind of like cinch up over his head and his ears. Oh, he hates it.
You're so beautiful.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Oh, I do not like that one, Mama. Okay, this next one is that same kind of concept, but it doesn't go over his head. It just kind of wraps around him like a horse, like a horse saddle.
Oh, wow, look at you. You look beautiful.
I actually really like this one. It fits great. It was easy to put on, but it doesn't have a harness hole. The hole is like way up here towards the top, towards the collar, and I don't put his leash like through his collar. That's a bummer. I really like this one. This last one, I really don't think he's gonna like at all. It's another one that goes over his head. This one's supposed to be able to like provide protection to his ears. I think he's gonna hate it.
Oh, wow, look at you. Oh, little babushka.
Your ears don't like, you really stay in it all that well.
Oh, wow. Oh, little babushka, how are you?
I'm kind of torn. In terms of easiest to get on, definitely this black one that just kind of wrapped around him like the saddle, but it doesn't have a built-in harness and it doesn't have a harness hole on the top either. So I want to love this one, but it's not perfect. I think my other 2 favorites were these ones. They both have the chest coverage and a built-in harness already. I like the idea of the ones that had the higher neck or the ear coverage, but I'm not sure he'll really tolerate that all that well. So I don't know. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. If you have any small little winter doggies out there, how do you dress them? I just stopped by our mailbox and picked up our return packages from the immigration office. These should have a decision in them, which I'm kind of shook about because I mailed them on Monday. They would have received them probably Tuesday, started working on them on Wednesday, and by Thursday we had a decision and they were mailing them back to us. Now today is Friday and I have them. I'm really nervous to open them because we got a decision so fast. So either they were perfect, approved immediately and sent back to us, or we messed something up and it was just instant denial, return to sender. The contents of these envelopes determines like our whole future, right? Like this is the single most important piece of mail I've ever gotten. Okay, I'm gonna go inside and open them with Patrick. It worked. They were approved. I can't believe this. I have a visa in my passport right now. I'm in shock. We did that. We figured out how to do that. It actually is starting to feel real now. This is happening. This is actually happening. Holy shit.